Okay. And on that note, I think we're going to get started, right? Is that okay with everyone? Everybody ready to go? Welcome, everyone. Glad to see you all here. I'm Cheryl Durant, and I'm the board chair of Just Food. And we are here again. This is our fourth year in doing our forum for our CSA Farmer Network. And our focus today is banking and how it relates to CSAs. It's been an ongoing question for our network. And we're finally able to put together this forum so that we can get some answers and we can learn more on the benefits of credit unions in particular, cooperative credit unions in particular, for our network, because we ourselves are mostly working in a cooperative and solidarity environment. Our lead facilitator will be Ali Issa, and he's with the Cooperative Economic Alliance of New York City. They've partnered with us before on other work, and we're happy to have them again. And he was instrumental in bringing together a group of credit unions who are here to present, give you information, and to hear your questions. And hopefully some of you will be able to sign up with credit unions before the end of this this gathering today, or make a commitment. So Ali, I'm going to pass it over to you, and we can go from there.
Well, thank you very much, Cheryl, and very nice to see you all here. Thanks for coming out on this Wednesday night. Yes, I am Ali Issa. I am the general coordinator of the Cooperative Economics Alliance of New York City, also known as CEANYC. And we are a network of over 125 various kinds of cooperatives and community-controlled institutions that tries to deepen and expand New York's solidarity economy. And part of that effort culminated in a release of a map that we called Seeding Solidarity, which I'll share here. Oops, whiteboard, what happened there? Sorry. There we go. And yeah, and the idea here was to try to display a particular set of formal cooperatives and community gardens and affordable housing co-ops, but in a way that would show the richness of the New York City landscape, especially in formerly redneck neighborhoods. You see here, uptown of the Bronx, down here the Lower East Side, and also a way that allows to expand their possible work with each other. So you see here, for example, this is the housing landscape, right? Narrow in a little, and you can see where the housing is very close to gardens, for example. Look at all the overlap. But in particular, we called it seeding solidarity because our idea is that there's really only a thriving challenge to the dominant economy once these sectors start to work together and really support one another. So as Cheryl said, when we had understood that CSAs were considering alternatives to Wall Street banks and to the extractive economy, we thought the map might be a very helpful tool to lay out where the CSAs are. Here you are in purple, CSA friends. And then also where the credit unions, or specifically community development credit unions, are near them, right? So you see there's the blue and the purple there, and that's the purpose of this discussion. So you know, that's a big part of our mission. So we're very honored to try to facilitate that, and we're able to invite, in this case, 5 of the community development credit unions in our city that are thriving, wanting to grow, and want to share with you more about their work and how you all might collaborate. So yeah, that's basically it. I think I'm just going to go in turn and introduce the credit unions that are present. And we'll start with Samira Rajan from the Brooklyn Cooperative Federal Credit Union, who will not only present about that particular institution, but about what are community development credit unions specifically, why they're unique, and why they're uniquely positioned, I think, to collaborate and build the power of CSAs. So with that, I'll pass it to you, Samira.
Okay, thank you, Ali. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I am the CEO of Brooklyn Co-op. It's a little community credit union We have 3 locations in central and eastern Brooklyn. One is in Bushwick, one is in Bedford-Stuyvesant, and one is in East New York. We opened the East New York branch 3 weeks ago. The video of our grand opening is on our website if you want to see it. It's really cute. Ali's first question was, what is a community credit union? All credit unions are, to speak to a point that was raised earlier, all credit unions are cooperatives, right, by structure, in the sense that all depositors of a credit union are also owners. By depositing the minimum share, and each credit union can determine its own minimum share, ours happens to be $5. By depositing the minimum share into your savings account, you own that 1 share of the credit union, and that makes you the shareholder, eligible to run for the board of directors, certainly eligible to vote for the board of directors, also to participate in other types of governance committees, which are part of credit unions. Many credit unions have a supervisory committee, they have an audit committee, they may have other types of committees of members. So I think there is tremendous alignment with regard to the solidarity economy and serving the CSAs with regard to that structure. Credit unions are all cooperatives and we are all non-for-profit. A community credit union is a geographic definition. There are basically 3 types of credit unions. The employer-based credit unions are the ones that are the largest. The largest is Navy Federal Credit Union, I think, and American Airlines Federal Credit Union, and I think Pentagon Federal Credit Union. These are all credit unions, even teachers, like locally in Long Island, like the Teachers Federal Credit Union. These are employment-based. So if you have a relationship with a particular employer, then you're eligible to join that credit union. And it's not just you, it's also your family members. And there can be kind of, widening circles around that, but it does need to be tied to that employer. The second type of credit union is faith-based. So you may have seen these. These are like on the other side of the spectrum in terms of size. They're little tiny ones, usually volunteer run, usually just in the basement of the church, usually just open on Sundays for 3 hours. They are there to serve the saving needs of the parishioners. And in between, in terms of size, are the community credit unions with a geographic, which tend to be geographic, but there could also be other types of definitions. I mean, Lower East Side also on this call, the definition of who is in their community is, it's a couple of different geographies stacked on top of another couple of different nonprofits. So there can be a mix and match. In credit union language, they're called SEGs. Nobody cares what they're called. Anyway, the point is that there's a mix and match of different communities. What the idea I want you to take away from that is just understanding that credit unions, their power lies in the fact that they're able to mobilize community. And for that to really come true, there does need to be a community involved. Like who are you? And what is your relationship to each other? For a geographic community like Brooklyn Co-op, the question that we ask people who want to join the credit union is, what is your relationship to our neighborhoods? Do you live in Central or Eastern Brooklyn? Do you have family here? Do you go to church here? Do you go to school here? Do you run a business here? There's got to be something that brings you back to this community for you to really be able to say, yeah, I'm eligible to join your credit union. With regard to what is Brooklyn Co-op, or maybe I can just say, like, in terms of what are the services of a community credit union, they're going to be just like those of a retail bank. There's not, on the front end, there's not too much distinction. Brooklyn Co-op has, of course, ordinary savings accounts and checking accounts that come with ATM cards with a Visa logo. We have debit cards, we have credit cards. We do a wide range of lending. We do secured lending, credit builder loans, personal loans. We are among I think we're the 3rd largest SBA lender in Kings County. So we do a lot of business loans and we'll do mortgage loans as well. So there's a wide range of lending and there's a pretty decent range of accounts possibilities. Perhaps in the context of the organizations on this call, we do have accounts, business accounts, and we have association accounts. There's some differences in terms of the documentation required and such. There's no need to get into all of that. That information is on our website as far as what you would need to bring in order to open one of the accounts. But I think I want to be able to just reassure you guys as you're thinking about changing financial institutions, it takes a while, like, to move all of the stuff over to your new, I know it takes a while. I want to reassure you that you don't have to fear that the credit union will fail. Credit union deposits are insured up to $250,000, just like everyone else's. you probably don't have to fear that we're going to lose your money. We're not going to lose your money. We are heavily regulated, just like the banks are. I think you can be assured that the credit unions will, by and large, accept cash deposits. We all have mobile banking. We have pretty little apps on your phone. You have to, in this environment, as a financial institution, we have to be able to compete. We accept electronic debits and credits. There's, I think, good reason to believe that the services that you would look for in a retail financial institution can be provided at the credit union as well. Maybe I'll leave that there.
Sure, thank you. That was terrific, Samira. Appreciate that. Of course, we can come back to you. But now we'll pivot to credit union number 2, which is the Concord Federal Credit Union, staying in Brooklyn. And I'll pass it to Denise Michaux.
Good evening, everyone. As Ali mentioned, I represent Concord Federal Credit Union, and I'm the CEO and president. To put it in context with what Samira talked about, Concord is a faith-based credit union affiliated with the historic Concord Baptist Church located in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. Our membership largely comes from the membership of the church. However, we are actually in the process now of expansion. We want to expand and be able to offer our services to others. We have so far some relationships with other nonprofits in the area, and we want that to grow. And we always are looking for other nonprofit or even profit-making organizations to partner with so that we can have a larger membership base. We offer just the types of products that Samira mentioned, savings accounts. We do a lot of consumer lending. We have some business accounts. We have an app. We have a mobile app. We have online banking. You could do ACH transfers with us. We have a window that is open a couple of days of the week where you could come and do cash transactions if you like. And I'll say this, you might hear the term people helping people. And that's really the motto, I'll say, of credit unions. We're nonprofits. We're not looking to, make a lot of money. You will find that credit unions have lower fees than banks. We pay more in interest on deposits, and our rates on loans are usually a little less than the other banks. I'll say the big banks like Chase and Citi. So you get a financial deal, I'll say that. You will be better on your pockets than the big guys. What we offer at Concord, which is, we think, sets us apart from the other credit unions. First of all, you only need $30 to open an account. $25 stays on deposit in your account, and $5 is a membership fee. But what we offer, we're able to offer personalized service. And people call us with their questions, or they might stop in or send us an email or whatever with questions and how we can help them. And we have a small staff that we work in the office there 5 days a week, and we're able to offer personalized service. And our members really enjoy that, and they're happy that we're there to help them. And on the other hand, with the mobile app and online banking, we have members who rarely come into the office or really have any need to contact us that way. So we can really service any type of a relationship that our members are seeking. And as I say, we are looking to expand our membership. So if any CSA on the call, or any other type of cooperative organization would like to partner with Concord and thereby make your members eligible to be members at Concord, you can reach out to me. And our email address is hello@concordfcu.org. And I think I probably went over my time a little bit.
Well, don't worry about it, Denise.
Okay.
Just barely over. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. People helping people as opposed to Wall Street helping Wall Street.
Right.
Now pivot, let's go west in our great metropolis to Cristal Veras from the Lower East Side People's Federal Credit Union. It's going to talk about that institution. Take it away, Cristal.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Cristal, and I'm an Outreach and Engagement Associate at Lower East Side People's Federal Credit Union. And then today I'm going to talk about a little bit our history, mission, and our services. Lower East Side Federal Credit Union was organized by members of the community in 1986 as a response and to fill the void left by the last bank branch closure below 14th Street in the Lower East Side. Our mission is to promote economic justice and opportunity in New York City neighborhoods. We are owned by members and dedicated to providing high quality financial services and community development investments in low income immigrants and other underserved communities. As Samira said, we are a co-op and we are owned by our members. And what this means is we allow community members to become shareholders. We are for community development, which are not all credit unions are. And we are certified community member development credit union. And our mission is to serve our members with non-extractive services, which means we're regulated to keep our funds within our members. We do not lend outside of our field memberships. We also have policies. We have policies to make our loans payable. This is a concept, very easy concept that not all credit unions follow. We currently have 3 locations, one in the Lower East Side, one in East Harlem, and in North Shore in Staten Island. And we also have a mobile branch that travels around mostly the Bronx. We serve the services that we offer, personal loans, auto loans, mortgages, technical assistance, merchant services, business accounts, supporting nonprofit organizations. We also do have a very unique service, which is ITIN, and is targeted to immigrants or people that are not eligible for a social security number. So that's a very special service that we offer. And once you apply for that service, we do have agents that help members apply for ITIN services. And once you do receive your ITIN number, you are eligible to apply for all the services that anyone with social security is eligible for. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cristal. Oh, I'm starting to feel the power. You see all these community development credit unions in New York City. We are blessed in so many ways with these awesome community-controlled institutions allow for alternatives. So now we'll go further west to Neighborhood Trust Federal Credit Union. And Rafael, please take it away. Oh, sorry, Rafael, I believe you have the mute button on. We're not hearing your important words.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Rafael Monch. I'm the president of NTFCU. We are located, west, but also very up north. We serve the community of Upper Manhattan. That is the area between 125th Street and the top of Manhattan, which is, I believe, 219. We were founded in 1996 due to the lack of financial services, providing service to people, low-income people in Upper Manhattan. Back then, many banks had closed, and many people didn't have access to the financial sector. We are also a CDCU, a community development credit union. We are a community development financial institution, and a low-income credit union as well. We provide almost all services similar to a retail bank. Accounts, loans, home loans, credit cards, online banking, all types of online transfers, bill payment, etc. And we have a very strong mission, which is to empower the members of our community and help them to accumulate wealth. The other part of our mission is to create employment. That is where partnering with co-ops in our area is so important. We started our small business lending program back in 2006 or 7, which was expanded to serving associations and co-ops. Currently, we have many co-ops that both bank and borrow at our credit union, and our plan is to grow that program further. Just two things that to add about credit unions, which I consider very important. We are we're not a nonprofits. We're not for profit. So we have to generate enough profits to be able to pay for our expenses. The other very important part is that our interest rates are capped, so we can't charge as much interest rate as any other financial institution can. Our interest rate is capped at 18%, but our average interest rate it's way lower than that. And all the terms on our accounts and loans, apart from having lower costs and lower interest, they're very simple. For instance, if you have an FEC account, which is a Financial Empowerment Center account, you only need $25 in your account, and you pay no annual fee or no monthly fee or anything, as long as you have that amount in your account. And if you ever go lower, you have a very low minimum balance fee to pay every month, which is just a fraction of what you would pay at a bank. I guess in a nutshell, and just taking care of not going beyond my limit, that's neighborhood trust.
Thank you so much, Rafael. Yeah, this sounds like we're building a movement here. And finally, last but not least, we'll go to the borough of Queens. Don't forget Queens, y'all. For Marlon Elliott from Urban Upbound Federal Credit Union. And I would mention before, Marlon is far better dressed than I am, but I find that to be an inspiration to be better dressed generally. Take it away, Marlon.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Marlon Elliott. I'm the Director of Credit Union Operations for Urban Upbound Federal Credit Union. So just like everyone mentioned, we're credit union and non-for-profit. At the top, Samira had mentioned a few credit unions in terms of the largest. And she mentioned two of them, which I work for, two of them, which is Navy Federal, which is the largest. And I worked for also teachers before as well. So our credit union, our field of membership is geographical. So Western Queens, if you live, work, or worship in Woodside, Sunnyside, Astoria, Long Island City, or if you use any of Urban Upbound services or programs. We are part of Urban Upbound is the umbrella, and they have a lot of programs, and the credit union is one of them. And we offer services for underserved community, and they're completely free. So you can look that up at urbanupboundfcu.org. The website shows all the programs and the different services that we offer. But the credit union itself, we offer a wide array of products, just like your traditional bank. Our savings account, the minimum balance to establish membership is $10. There's no fee, membership fee. We had a membership fee when I started, and I encouraged the board to vote to get rid of the membership fee. So now we have no membership fee, minimum balance $10. There's also no minimum monthly maintenance either. We offer savings check-in. We have a mobile app where you can download. You can lock and unlock your debit card right in our mobile app to prevent fraud. We also, and the question about our website is also uufcu.org, which is the acronym for Urban Upbound Federal Credit Union. The question posed in the beginning, how to open accounts. Members can, or potential members can open accounts through our website by clicking on Become a Member link. They can also fill out a form which comes directly to the credit union. We could contact the member, verify if they're eligible for membership. We also implemented a online form where they can sign electronically. We complete the form, send it to them, they e-sign it and send it back, so they don't have to actually come into the branch. If they also want to, they can actually come into the branch and open an account as well. In terms of funding the account, they can do electronic funds transfer. We can actually set up an external bank account if they provide us with the account and routing number and the bank name and the type of account. We can set it up, and they can now go on our website by using our mobile app or our general website and do a transfer to and from that institution to fund their account. So once we set it up, they can go in, they see it as a drop down, and they can transfer it to that institution or from that institution from our account. And other question about engaging Spanish speaking community. We do have a Spanish speaking representative, member service representative at our credit union. We're also in the process of hiring another Spanish speaking representative because we also have a high concentration of Spanish speaking individuals in our community. We serve the underserved, where branch is located right in the Queensbridge, where we serve over 30,000. We have a potential of serving over 30,000 NYCHA residents. NYCHA residents could pay their rent also at our credit union. If they're a member, they pay they pay no fee, and if they're a non-member, there's a $2 fee. Other institutions around our area charge them up to $5 to pay their rent. And so we offer that, and sometimes as a talking point to the non-members, to kind of let them know that if they pay their rent, if they open up a membership, they don't have to pay their rent, to get, pay a fee to pay their rent. We offer a wide array of products. Like I said before, we offer loans, we offer consumer loans, business loans, for startup as well, for a startup business, but there's some additional requirement that they need to go through in terms of the startup. Auto loan, credit cards, credit builder loan we also have, and just to name a few. So thank you guys. I'm not sure if I went over my time, but I appreciate it.
No, thank you, Marlon. That was beautiful. Yeah, just want to thank you all for those presentations. Just remembering our mission at CEANYC is to foster cooperation among cooperatives. And I feel like this is a very rare gathering, some of the strongest alternative financial institutions in the city. So it feels really good that everybody is talking about the power that they can bring, for this movement broadly, and especially talking to you all who are, developing community-controlled alternatives for how to get healthy food, right? So it's a match made in heaven. Do people still use that? Am I dating myself? But it feels really good to imagine, divesting from Wall Street and investing in each other. So hopefully that's the beginning of this. And I believe I can get back to Cheryl, who is right now displaying the beautiful Just Food logo for, just a broader conversation among us all.
Hi, I'm going to jump in really quickly. Thank you so much for these presentations.
Great.
And Sherry has been putting some of your contact information in the chat, but could those of you from the credit union put the best way to reach the credit union in the chat so we have it on record? If it's a website or a email address or phone number, whatever you would like people to know about how to reach out to your credit union. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ruth. So we're at the part in the program where we open it up to Q&A for anyone who has questions to ask their questions. And please do ask your questions. This is the moment you've been waiting for. You've asked for this for a long time. Do not disappoint. I have a question. It might be oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll ask a question from the banking perspective towards the CSAs. So what is it that would make a CSA feel very, very comfortable working through the credit unions?
CSAs, that one is for you. I'm a farmer.
Or in essence, what is it that the CSA is looking for? What is it that,
I'll talk. Our CSA has been in existence about 15 years. We've been banking with Chase Bank, and we're nonprofit, but we have to keep $2,000 in the account just to avoid the fees. So that's something we want to try to get around. I think basically, also a question is whether we could use our, well, quote unquote, business name to open the account. And I don't know if our members are going to be opening accounts. It would basically be switching over our Chase account to I guess, one of the co-ops. I don't know if that's even possible. So that's why I'm here to try to find that out. Basically, we have our members write us checks made out to our name, and then we deposit them or do Zelle or Venmo or whatever, and then we send the check to the farm. And that's basically what happens. And it usually happens maybe twice a year, once for the spring and once for the winter. And that's what we do, and that's what I'm looking for. So I don't know if that anyone can answer that or if that helps.
thank you.
Looks like you're in Forest Hills,
Yeah.
right? And there was someone on from Queens looking for the person. Which is the one that does Queens? Did we lose someone?
No, he's here. That's Marlon from Urban Upbound.
Ah, Marlon, yes. I don't know if Forest Hills was in the range or not. That's what I was actually going to ask when we have a moment for folks to share the areas that you cover, or where, you know, what qualifies a CSA to, or anyone to have an account with your credit union. Because some people cover that, some people didn't. I see Marlon's on mute,
Yes,
so I will turn it over if you cover.
yes. So it's Western Queens, Woodside, Sunnyside, Astoria, Long Island City, or anyone who live, work, or worship in those areas. But it's not just those areas. We have Urban Upbound, who has financial fitness program, tax program, the college access program, Jobs Plus program. So we have like 6 different programs that you can become qualified, and not just that as well. So I can only go in those areas, but if an Urban Upbound program, which is also outside of that area, all over New York, they can take anyone inside New York. So to make them qualify for the credit union, what I do is piggyback off of them. I have them refer the person to the credit union, one of their client, and once their client uses their service, then they're eligible to me. So I'm not eligible to go to Palmanac Houses in Queens, but if I go with a financial fitness counselor and he does a financial fitness counseling with them, then they can talk to me of becoming a member at the credit union. So there's many different ways to become a member. If you do virtual church in any one of those areas, you can also become a member. So you don't have to live there. If you even do a virtual church in those areas, you can also become a member of the credit union, Urban Upbound.
And Marlon, if I could just go further on that question, if someone that was involved in the CSA, maybe on the core group, may, you know, attend worship in oh my God, Long Island City.
Yes.
But would that be the person that would then have to be like the main person on the account? Or is it possible that the organization that they're part of then can be, you know, get the account? And then what is required? I know that was one of the questions that was asked. Does it have to be, let me find that question again. Can we have a bank account without a registered entity or tying a member's social security number to the account. So that can also go to all of you, but I was just wondering about that for.
So
Yeah,
if
can I jump in before you answer, because that was something that I wanted to ask also. Does the CSA, and I'm thinking of it as a farmer, as an urban farmer, being part of a community garden. A lot of us are not nonprofit organizations. We are community-based organizations. So as an organization like that, could we potentially open an account with a credit union like yours?
So yes, so for example, we had someone the other day, a gentleman who came in, and if you know the basketball player Ron Artest, his dad came in with a friend of his, and both of them, Ron Artest Sr. lives in Manhattan, and the other gentleman lives in Staten Island, which none of those are field of membership. But what I did is I guide them to see a financial counselor with Urban Upbound. And once they were able to see the financial counselor, then they were able to open accounts. And the same thing goes for a business entity. If you're trying to establish business membership with the credit union, as long as the individual is eligible for membership, then their business is also eligible for membership.
And also, if I may add, the type of business that you I imagine manage, which are CSAs, we are in a position to offer accounts and even loans to that type of business. We offer accounts for non-profits, association, clubs, and also CSAs, and which are similar in some form, I would imagine, to your specific to your individual businesses.
I want to jump in to just ask you to clarify, because CSAs are, as you say, community-based organizations. We're not not-for-profits. We're not incorporated. So if an individual from the CSA walks into your credit union, do they need their own social security number to open an account? What exactly is it that you need to open an account? Like, can you just go into the weeds about that a bit?
Okay, so this is Marlon again. So as long as the individual is eligible to establish membership, then the entity can establish membership under that premise. So what you need, an individual obviously would need a social security number or tax identification number, not necessarily a social if they don't have one. Urban Upbound also provide services that can help someone apply for a tax identification number. On the entity side, they have to have their EIN number. Their business have to be formed through the New York State, have their EIN number and their business documents, and then they can establish business. But the individual just need to be eligible for membership, and then the entity would be eligible as well for membership.
So maybe a question that I can throw out that would help. It is true that you can get an EIN number even if you're not incorporated. So I understand what you said, that many of the CSAs are not corporations, you're not incorporated, but I imagine that you do still have EIN numbers. Is that true?
I'm gonna say I see a couple of folks
so-
nodding. Go ahead, Denise.
I wanted to, like, this is the, to me, for our group, we have a bank account, but I'm always afraid if something happens and they say, oh, you know, like, I actually need to take one of the person's off their name off the account, and I'm afraid to do it because that might trigger them saying, oh, but now you need to be incorporated. We have an EIN, but we don't file taxes and we're not incorporated. You know, there's all these conversations. At one point we were considered become a 501c, but we then didn't, because that's whatever. It's sort of inappropriate for some community groups. It's a whole nother layer of bureaucracy.
Yeah, no, it's a
need.
lot of work and you don't need to do that. So as long as you have an EIN, so the important thing when it comes to, you know, walking through the door, can you open the account? You all should know beforehand, or you should decide beforehand who will be the signers, right? So the signers need to come in, And then they'll need to come in with their photo ID and with their social security numbers because they're signing on a bank account. So they need to bring in their social security numbers. The entity ought to have an EIN number. It ought to have an address. So we're going to ask for a proof of address. There's got to be a physical address somewhere. And we also may ask in terms of beneficial ownership, who are the rest of the decision makers? So you might have 5 people who are decision makers. Maybe only 2 of them want to sign, but it may also be of interest for us to understand who are the remaining decision makers. And sometimes that's called beneficial ownership.
And to be clear, that's like we have a business account. We'd want it to be a business account. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know what the difference is, but yeah, because it's not a personal account. Yeah.
Right, not a personal account. It's a business account, which is why we need to understand who all is authorized to speak on behalf of this entity,
And
if that helps.
Samira, could you also speak to what geographical limitations, if there are any, for joining Brooklyn Co-op? Because I don't think you mentioned that. If you did, I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Our charter is comprised of 6 community districts. So we go by community boards, community districts. They are by name Bushwick, Bedford-Stuyvesant, North Crown Heights, South Crown Heights, Brownsville and East New York, and Ridgewood in Queens, because we're very close to the border of Queens.
So would you need to be a member or live in one of those areas to?
You could live here, you could worship here, you could go to school here, you could volunteer here, you could have a business here. You would just be able to let us know what are your ties to this community, because we'll ask the question. We're not gonna like follow you home and check, but it is kind of an affirmative thing that you state on your application. What is your connection to this community?
Denise, did you
Sorry.
still have
Yeah,
another question?
Just so I understand, you have the individuals who need to provide their personal SSN or taxpayer ID number. Is it easy, say that the individual who did that in the beginning departs the organization, is it relatively easy for someone to come in and provide a fresh social security number or tax ID and assume the personal ownership of it?
Well, the hard part when it comes to the changing the ownership, and that's why kind of I was asking about who's in charge, like who's the governing bodies of this
Right.
organization. Perhaps they don't have, perhaps you guys don't have a formal board of directors, but there ought to be a body. Like there's somebody who's making decisions together. It's not like a monarchy, right? So when there is a change, then the entity needs to be able to speak for the entity. Like, is it the board of directors who's going to write me a letter that says, you know, this person has moved on, we'd now like to add this person as a signer? Or is it going to be the steering committee? Is it going to be an advisory board of some kind? So you all need to decide who is the entity that speaks for who is the body that speaks for your entity? And then we're going to rely upon that body for changes into the future. So if person A moves, fine. Does that mean person D can come in and just be like, okay, I'm the new treasurer? It's like, no, I mean, no, I don't know who you are. You just walked in off the sidewalk. Your entity should vouch for you somehow. And yeah, the letter would be great. Sometimes you could supply board minutes or a corporate resolution, right? Along those lines, so that we are not relying on any one person's statements.
Can I just jump in and say that what Samira is talking about identifying the decision makers at organizations and who we're going to take instruction for, it's the law. So we have to ask these questions, and we really don't have any leeway there. It is regulation, and everybody here is the credit unions are all regulated entities. We're regularly examined by the government, be it the federal government or the state, and there are lots of laws and regulations that we have to adhere to. So what she is talking about, it's the law, and we just have to follow the law. And I will mention too, is that the banks are not crazy about credit unions. And if you look recently, there's been some talk out there that, credit unions, we're tax exempt. The banks do not like that at all. And they're going to their legislators, their representatives to stop that. So, I mean, you could just do a Google search about, banks and credit unions. The banks are not happy that credit unions exist. And they are working to make credit unions pay taxes, not to take away the tax exempt status. In which case, some of the low fees and low rates and whatnot, might go away. So I say all that to say that we are really community-based. Our whole idea is to help people, businesses in the community to have access to the financial system and at the lowest cost possible. And we're not in it to make money. We do have to charge fees from time to time to keep our lights on, of course. But that is not our overarching reason to be, is to make money.
Is the pushback from commercial banks due to the fact that more and more people are turning to credit unions as a source of banking? Because
from what I'm reading is the pushback is that the credit unions are tax exempt. So you have a huge credit union like Federal. I don't know how many billions in assets that they have, but they're tax exempt. And a comparably sized bank is not. So the banks do not like that. And I've been reading something recently, how the banks are organizing and going to their elected representatives to see what they can do about that.
so in terms of advocacy on our part, how do we counteract that? Because obviously credit unions are a benefit to people like us,
Right.
who can't afford higher fees, who work in small community-based organizations. And what's the alternative? Because many of us cannot open accounts with commercial banks. They don't want us either.
They don't, yeah. Actually, I'll tell you that, we have to, as a credit, we have to have a bank account somewhere. And a very large and well-known bank didn't want us to be their customer. And we had to scramble and find a new bank. But anyway, there are groups. I don't know if the credit unions that are on the call tonight may be a member of a group called Inclusive, which Concord is, and they're an advocacy group for credit unions. And they are organized and they know how to get the word out, and they know how to reach the elected officials and whatnot. And that's one way that the credit unions can make their voices heard. And recently, I say within the last year, Inclusive was able to arrange a meeting with some of the credit union representatives with our senator, with Chuck Schumer, and to let him hear what our issues were. And he seemed very positive and wanted to help us as much as he could. But there are advocacy groups that credit unions can join, and one of them is called Inclusive. And I know Concord is a member of Inclusive.
But also, perhaps the best way to support us is to join us.
Yes.
The only way we can grow, and this was again also one of the conditions that the banks said many years ago for the Credit Union Act to be enacted, was that we can't grow by issuing debt or shares like a bank can. We can only grow with profits. That's a very slow growth that it sees a very strong impact in case of a financial meltdown or any other situation. So the only way for us to be strong is to have more and more members. We do offer better rates and lower costs. That's the truth. But there was a question on the chat a few minutes ago. They were asking, why would then a CSA choose a bank instead of a credit union? That's a very interesting question. We are not a bank. We're not as convenient as a bank. We don't have a zillion branches, and we don't have a one ATM everywhere. But that barrier is being destroyed with online banking. Right now, the only difference between us and a bank is that for our members to deposit only cash, they have to come to the credit union. But they can deposit checks with remote deposit capture. They can transfer money in and out. There's no restriction to transfer money out or in the credit union. They can do everything, cash, and of course we don't offer 24/7 phone service. We can't. Besides that, lower cost. If you have a problem with a financial institution, which you will sometime will have, if you go to a credit union, they will know you, and this is true. They'll know you by name. They know who you are. They know you know us by name, and that for us has a lot of value. Our boards have a very strong mission, and our financial goals for our board are as strong as our mission goals, and that says a lot for community and for all types of credit unions.
Also, to mention, credit union is also part of a co-op network that we have access to other credit unions where members can use their account to either make deposits, make withdrawals. With our credit union, we have over 30,000 ATM within our co-op network where members from other credit union can actually do transaction, and us can do transaction at those credit unions. So we actually band together too in terms of getting access to ATMs, our members getting access to their funds and their accounts.
If I could possibly also add a thought, Cheryl, if that's okay.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, appreciate that. You're such a generous facilitator, like you could be like, no, Ali, no, there's no time for you, but you just said, okay. Yeah, just to kind of step back, and I know, Rafael, you might have to leave for a moment, people might drop off, but just to give the context again from, Just Food's map, which fed into CEANYC's map, and we're trying to support each other's maps, etc. There are 86 CSAs, as far as we can track together in New York City. They range from various sizes, but that is many hundreds of people, many thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars that's flown through. And an interesting discussion to think about more broadly is that CSAs themselves are a kind of interesting approach to non-extractive loans for the farmer, right? So in a way, this is a community loan fund for a farm that prioritizes, particular community, right? So that's one. And how many community development credit unions are there in New York City? Around 20, right? And these together on this call, which again is a great achievement, are some of the strongest and most, I think, interested in these particular values. So we got 20 of these, 86 of these, and how can they collaborate? And there's so much value alignment, but like you all are pointing out, there's practical questions to consider first and foremost. You got demands, where do you put the money? And are there technical ways that are gonna be something we gotta prioritize? And I think there's many solutions to think about that, but yeah, if you all in your CSA, if you imagine this more of a long-term question, able to study the websites and these kind of things. So yeah, I think hopefully we all, CEANYC/Just Food, can support people exploring different options, but to prioritize the question of an alternative to a Chase or Bank of America account is something that I think we've proved hopefully that it's practical, and also beyond the practical in kind of this visionary sense. There's one way to, I know Lower East Side was here, but if people are not in a particular geography, and Marlon had mentioned this as well, the question of like partnership select partner groups, and I know Denise, you and I have talked about that possibility as well, where if you're not necessarily within, Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, but you want to partner, how does that relate to the geographical constriction? So in the case of Lower East Side, if you're a member of CEANYC, this broad network of cooperatives and groups, then you can join Lower East Side. And that's been the case for community gardens. Y'all are 86, community gardens are like 600.
100.
Right?
Yeah.
Where do they, if they have money, where do they put their money? And on and on. What about the housing cooperatives that align with us value-wise? That's like 1,200 housing cooperatives, right? Co-op City is 15,000 apartments. So, we're not running New York City, but this is a lot of people that have to deal with banks. So, so just to think about what is our joint strategy for dealing with financial institutions? Y'all are a very important one, and kind of a mass, transfer into the credit unions could be, I think, a really promising step to where we all find alternatives to Citibank, and then what does that mean for the credit unions as well as our own groups? So that's kind of the vision. Hopefully, it's coming across, but it's going to take a lot more talking. And if the people aren't on this call, see the recording, what is our strategy to do neighborhood targeting? How many CSAs surround you, Raphael, in West Harlem? How can the Queens question relate to some of the CSAs there and and beyond? So that's, I think, what we need. I imagine what would be necessary to have, let's say, 86 of the CSAs, and there's probably a handful now that bank with the members here. Let's say half of them switch. What would it take to achieve that? So I think that's what CEANYC would like to support, and this is hopefully a first step in that process.
I have two questions, and because one of the things that we're doing at Just Food is to translate questions for our members who might come to us after the fact. So my first question is a real nitty-gritty one, Dave. You probably covered, and I just want to be sure I understand. We have members who, some CSAs, the members pay the farmer directly, and some they pay the CSA so that their payment would flow into their bank account and then flow out of it to the farmer. And increasingly, our member payments come in via Venmo or some other similar way of paying electronically. Are the credit unions able to accept payments through Zelle or Venmo? I sort of assume you are, but I want to be sure.
I think it's a very strong yes. We accept Cash App, Venmo, etc. In terms of Zelle, if the payment is coming from a financial from a bank that has Zelle, then they can connect it to the credit union. So yes, and we have our own platform for external transfers, wires. I mean, and I think it's the same case for all the credit unions here, I believe.
Okay, thank you. And then I have another question, just following up with Denise in particular. You had said something in your presentation about the fact that you are working with nonprofits in the neighborhoods that your credit union serves. And my question is, we hear a lot from CSAs that, one of the very strong missions for CSA is to make the food accessible to people of all income levels. So CSAs are either they have sliding scale payments or some other mechanism so that people who can least afford the food are as able to get CSA as more affluent members. So if you had a CSA that was a member who was looking for funding, say specifically to help lower income members join and become members, or help subsidize SNAP eligible members. Are you able to use your knowledge as a credit union rooted in the community to put a CSA that was looking for funding in touch with a nonprofit that might be able to help? Is that appropriate to ask, or is that something you might do?
Well, it's appropriate to ask, but I think any organization that we partner with, the idea, again, I'll say, is people helping people. So if there is a partner that we have that they offer a service or a function that another partner might benefit from, we can make that connection. We can, put them together. There are, I'll just mention, there are privacy laws, right? You have to be concerned about that. But long as the parties are agreeable and that's something that they're interested in, we can make that happen. If, as I say, if the parties agree and that's what they want to do.
And sorry, just to jump in briefly, I know we're running out of time. Rafael has added time, really appreciate that. But Sherry, you had just shared in a planning meeting that you are an example, in the case of Brooklyn Bridge CSA, you have used a credit union. So I think if you just share anything about that, for the recording or beyond, like you are doing what we're promoting. So it seems like it could, if you just touch on that, that might be helpful.
Sure. Yeah, we are actually members of the Brooklyn Co-op Federal Credit Union, which we are very happy to be members. And we joined when it was just a more general Brooklyn requirement, because we're actually in like Brooklyn Heights, downtown Brooklyn area. But we are all in Brooklyn, and very happy, have been a member for years. And I had only gone there to actually sign up when we started the account. So everything else is all mobile. We accept checks. I do all mobile deposit for checks. And then we have Braintree, which is connected to, our bank account somehow in the background. And you have automatic deposits from that going in. So we found it works very well and have been very, very happy with it, and our relationship with them. So yeah, I'm sure it is tied to my social security number, because I had to go in and we had to have the form. I think Ali, you put the form in the requirements, the document requirements list. So I did all that with the other core group members, and worked with someone at the co-op to make sure that all that was in order before I made the trek over to Bed-Stuy. That was when there was only 2 branches open.
I think we need to clarify this, which is always an obstacle for people, tying to the social security number, because it makes it seem, what I understand is, as an entity, whether you're a nonprofit, whether you're a CBO, you can get an EIN number. And if you can get an EIN number, then you're not tied to a social security number. The social security number and the individuals on the account are there for identification purposes and for decision-making purposes. So I just want to be clear, we're not tied to our personal information. We can acquire an EIN number, which would make our entities eligible to be part of and I think that's where when we talk to our CSA members, or we talk to our community members, where the confusion comes in.
What I will add that I gave my address as the address, because we don't, the off season, we're not at our distribution site. So it's my address that's tied to the account, because our EIN number is tied to the person who started the CSA and has not been involved for years. And to change that has not worked. So we have an EIN number. It's a long story. We have an EIN number. And we did use that, but then the actual, it may not be tied to my social security. Like I said, this was several years ago. So also the rules may have changed and what's required, but or maybe it was just that it was brought that I was proving my identity, could also be why I had it, but I feel like I had to have it. If Samira is still on, maybe she can jump to that, but we definitely had an EIN. We have an EIN number. And yes, to answer another question I saw pop by in the chat, we will make the recording available to all.
I was
Yes.
just responding to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I see Samira's unmuted.
Yeah,
so-
I'm sorry. I got in the car driving home, but I couldn't talk until you gave me permission because of course it's a bank account. So once you gave me permission, I can talk. Right. So we do need, as you had said, that we need the social security number and the photo ID. Also, as Denise was saying, as proof of identification. So we know who the individuals are who have authority for the entity. So the entity, I mean, I don't have the computer open anymore since I got in the car. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you exactly. It's probably nobody's business, but your entity for the CSA has its EIN number. And then there's going to be a list of people who are authorized signers, and each of those signers have a social security number that is visible within that entity because their ID is part of what we needed in order to open the account. Those are the rules. So you will have to present a social security number if you are deemed by your organization to have meaningful influence, and you also present that social security number if you are assigned by your organization to be authorized to make withdrawals and deposits. So yeah, it's about your ID, but it is true that from a point of view of whose money is it, it belongs to the entity.
There's a
Agreed.
question sorry.
Sorry, it is a business account. I do not have a personal account at the co-op, but like Samira said, I went in by myself, but I had certified letters from the other board member or what is that? Notarized letters from all of the other folks that are on the core group. So I ran around and got all those and brought those in with me when I started the account. So, and I'm not sure if that's still the same now, but that was when I started. I'm happy to talk about electronic payments separately because that one is definitely tied to my social security number because I got a letter from the IRS one time when it was reported by Braintree that I had unreported funds, and I did not know that Braintree was reporting it via 1099. So that's a whole nother conversation that I'm happy to talk about my personal experience. I am not a tax expert, but we have adjusted how we do things in light of that situation. So that's another, I can go down that, but I'll let Ruth jump in with her.
Yeah, I just want to bring up this question in the chat from Denise at Hellgate CSA, which I would love to hear some of you answer. Denise is saying, I'd love to learn how to accept electronic payments as an unincorporated association. We had to stop accepting electronic payments a few years ago and only accept checks or cash. So if you guys could just clarify how you make that happen, that would be great. And Denise, if you want to enlarge on that, feel free.
Yeah, but just love, I mean, to hear, right? We used to be able to use PayPal, but they changed the banking laws and we have to be incorporated. And we haven't found any solution. I hear everyone saying they do different things, but I don't know if those are the groups who are incorporated. Because, you know, if you want to go become a 501c or whatever, then you can do all this. But I know I hear people saying, no, they can do it. Yeah, I can't figure.
We are not incorporated, but I had to work with, and again, we started with Braintree maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and that's the only electronic I use right now. I do Venmo. That's another, I'm not skilled with Venmo and what's acceptable or not, because I think it has to be tied to I don't know. I may be doing it wrong, but I have a business Venmo, which has helped as well, but it's just more tracking and back end stuff on my side. But I worked with the folks, a representative at Braintree years ago, to sort of explain what a CSA was, try to get them to understand, how we work. And I was able to set it up so that when I use Wufoo, which is what we use for accepting our registration and accepting payments, I'm able to accept credit cards through Wufoo because we do not do it through our website. So it's a whole separate system we have, but I did have to tie it to my own. It's a business account, but it's tied to my own social security number. So it does get reported to the IRS, although things changed. And now if it's not over $20,000, apparently they don't send a 1099 to the IRS. I don't know. This is all new. I went to look for it and it's, anyway.
Yeah, that would bring in like $100,000 a year, right? Yeah.
It depends. Well, it depends on the size of your CSA, and we have it split between our checks and our, so I don't necessarily, but yeah, it's over that. So I have to kind of figure out what's going on there. But we do add that in to my own personal taxes as a business. So I sort of do the nonprofit thing and make sure that our P&L is at, right about zero. So we're not making a profit. We're not showing a loss. I'm not getting a credit, but that's how we handle it for ours. But I'm willing to do that. And I realize that not all CSAs have the capacity or the folks that are able to do that. So that answers a question in that, that's how we work it, but it's not necessarily feasible for all. So I would love to hear if other folks on the call have other methods.
What's Wufoo? I've never heard of that. Could you spell it?
WFOO. Wufoo. And you can sign up. There's different levels and it does cost something to actually be able to accept payment, but you can sign up for a month at a time. And so that we just sign up when we're actually have registration going and then cancel it and then sign up again and then cancel it. They have a free system, a free account, but I don't think you can actually accept payments on that account. But I've been doing that. We've been doing that for years. Sign up, close it, sign up, close it. I think, Ruth, yours also uses Wufoo, right? Am I right with that?
We do use Wufoo, but our system is a little bit different because the farmer accepts payment and then he remits our administration fees back to us so that the CSA bank account only holds the admin fees. We're not flowing through payments that are as large as the ones that you are. I put the Wufoo web address in the chat so that you can look it up.
I just want to
yeah, they are extremely helpful. As far as I know, though, Sherry, your experience might be different. Wufoo doesn't accept payments directly. What they do is they can send you to whatever other payment system they're using. So they can generate an invoice, they can send you to PayPal or whatever electronic payment system you're using.
Yes, that's the way ours works. You can select if you're going to pay by check or credit card. If you pay by check, we have an automated response that says please send your check to so-and-so. If you opt to pay by credit card, we've connected through Braintree, which accepts the credit cards, some from years ago. We connected to them, and then a separate window pops up, and then the member will fill out their information through that window. So you're right, and that it's WUFU's doing it, but it's not actually something they do on their own. I do want to find out more about Zelle at if Brooklyn Co-op does that. We haven't expanded that far yet, but I'm glad to hear that at least Neighborhood Trust does. So
We don't
good.
have Zelle.
okay.
Yeah, well, the way we use it is that we can accept payments through Zelle or send payments through Zelle if the financial institution on the other end has Zelle, so
Yeah.
uses or offers Zelle to their members. But we ourselves do not contract directly with Zelle. Yeah, but that's what Zelle allows the members to do, to transfer funds from a Zelle account to a non-Zelle account, or from a Zelle account to another Zelle account, but not from a non-Zelle account to another non-Zelle account.
Let's see. I just want to do a time check that we have 6 minutes remaining for the end of the workshop. If folks have any other pressing questions, now is the time.
I'm just going to ask Raphael if you could clarify your last answer, or any of you. Am I right in thinking that maybe it is easier in general for the credit unions to work with Venmo than with Zelle, if there is a choice?
Well, if the payment comes from a bank that offers Zelle, then Zelle works very well. There's no need for an external. But Venmo works as well, and PayPal works. Many different. It really depends on what system we are using, but they are all convenient. Zelle was created by the main banks and offered by them, and Zelle allows payment to third parties directly from a bank account. Venmo and Cash App, etc., are external platforms, but they work as well. Yeah. I would say though that all this discussion about WUFU and Braintree has been very interesting for me, and it's very interesting to learn the challenges and solutions that other sectors have. I would definitely go back and see how we can serve better members that are using right now WUFU and Braintree.
Yeah, I would add, I mean, we've got our system working, but I think I want to say Denise mentioned it earlier, where you kind of have this, like, it's working now. I don't want to rock the boat. Everything is going. So I'm in that also that stage of, you know, if there's something more streamlined, that would be great to know about. But at the same time, we're keeping our systems as is because it was not easy to get us to this point. And yeah, I mean, we're definitely open to other options. We'd love to hear more, and we can do follow-up too if other folks that haven't had a chance to ask their questions, or you know, other of our credit unions have other thoughts. We welcome that. We can share with the folks that weren't able to join.
Yeah, and just to say a final word from me, Ali. This is Ali. Yeah, just so much appreciation for everybody taking, you know, extra time. And I imagine that a good next step would be just to consolidate, you know, a list of the people that were here, their website information as people have shared, but then also, yes, some way where if CSAs are seriously considering switching financial institutions, we have those list of answers to talk about these technical questions, and then just the frame, you know, why do it, and how it can be something that's a practical solution and beyond. So hopefully me, Cheryl, Sherry, and all y'all can talk about this more, but it seems like we could provide a centralized source, you know, divest from Wall Street, join this blah, 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 could be a really practical and immediate solution to all these needs. So thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Okay, we will be in touch and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night, my
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Everyone have a good evening.
Oh, you too,
Night.
Denise.
Thank you. That was awesome. Hey, Ruth.